Just some short discussion now on some of these images that we're seeing. Starting with A, what that means. Here it's talking of the Great Spirit. Not any one Great Spirit, it can be attached to a number of Great Spirits, be followed by a name. But Great Spirit takes it in towards its ideogram value. Coming up next on this alphabetical, B. I'll argue that later to an A. However, what we're looking at there is an arm, as in delivering something. Sometimes shown with a bulbous muscle, taking something. Can be said taking with force, shown with a large muscle. But an arm, nonetheless it is, giving, taking, using its ideogram value. From there next we move to the B, the foot. For its ideogram value, it's a very special one in the meaning of saying this place. When placed before the name of a place, it's identifying it as being this place and meaning. Coming up next, we have C. Here they've drawn what's called a folded cloth. However, it's rather than a C, this is a Z said in this way. So it can be also listed as a S, but a folded cloth it is, in the way that it holds a secret within. Comes up next, the hand, D, as in dijed, but said in its phonetic more of a T and then a D. Coming up next, E, the feather. The feather is telling us not just a letter E, but it's saying truth. This is the ideogram value for truth. Placed alongside something that was said, it would be said in truth by having the E alongside. Coming up next, F, or more of a Z, it said, the serpent. This one carries no ideogram value to unknown sign lists, and this is one which we'll be looking closely at as we progress, taking its meaning from sign lists from other written languages written of the same period. Coming up now, the letter G, and here's an example of it in our modern day. That's what we're seeing there on that alphabetical sign list. Recognise it now? A candle goes inside, oils purify and burn out of its top. It's a sanctum. The letter G. The letter H coming up now. What we see there, that square, it's a home. It's a most sacred home, but home it is. And then H again seen there. That's a candle wick we're looking at, as in a candle wick lights. So it's a human at the end of the day they're talking of, the light of one's life. So it's a him or a her displayed in a candle wick which lights, as does you and I gaining knowledge as you are now. Coming up after that, this is an interesting one, 2 digits. I-E or I. Its ideogram is more to breathe, the air, wind, breath. J coming up is interesting. J, said that way. J or J. Its ideogram meaning leading to been done. As a trilateral, something else that we'll look at as we progress, where there's a number of texts leading to one ideogram image with a feather underneath. It would be done in truth. Put a dash in there for the word spoken and it becomes it is said in truth. Yeah. K coming up now. A basket, but notice it's got a handle on it. The reason for that, it's heavy. It means fullest. Used above one's head, it would be to say their head is full of information. Fullest, K. L coming up next, one of my favourites. The great lion. A long ideogram means to it, often referring to Ra, Ra's home, his sanctum. L, the lion. M, very interesting, one's bar. A part of one's soul. There's a car and a bar, 2 parts to a person. It's actually three, but we'll stick to the two for the moment. Ka and a ba. This is the part that returns back to a person's dead body into their mummified husk at dawn each day, travelling through the night. One's bar existing inside them right now makes it so that same image is used to point to a person at times as him or her, talking of them directly. The bar, interestingly, returning to the mummy husk each dawn. That's why the noses are broken off statues. The bar enters back into that mummy through the nose. Should it see a lifelike image of itself and enter in there, it would be lost eternal. Break that nose. And the water symbol for across the waters, added into with another, becomes the sacred waters. And the red crown of Egypt, ruler of the north. Oh, a sacred rope, a rope of protection, attached to Osiris, hence the O. Osiris, at the end of the day, does most of our protecting. P, a door, a gate. A time in Egypt when most doors were made from the most simplistic manufacture, made out of reeds. P, a door. Q, or Q, a hill, a high climb. That's its ideogram value. Used alongside the name of Osiris, it would say something like Osiris up on the hill. R, a mouth, often used for Ra. Spoken can be its ideogram term. S, an interesting one that leads us back to some traditional values we'll have to deal with later. T, the upturned bread loaf, a feminine term too, this one, often used in its ideogram for mistress. It's a fem, T. T next to it, or more of a tis. And this one is the sort of thing that would hook around a camel's hoof to anchor the animal, meaning to hold there, to keep. Coming up next is, oh yes, you most interesting. The image, this one carries a number of images, and a number of meanings. In numeric, it's the word 100, but other than that, it's for the soul. Talking of a soul, its ideogram mean. V there is really a U. It can be meaning towards you, the one who is. Talking of a person, a child. We're all children when we are reborn. In a funerary text, this would be used as the one who is. Talking of you there in the text, you there having your heart weighed. Skipping to X, again, the full bowl, a heavy weight, a fullest mind. Jumping next to two feathers seen there. Now the two feathers, unlike E, the one feather meaning truth, this tells us to truest truth. Z coming up, very much like the S, but notice here we have two dots within the line, the telling us of the journey across the Achet, the journey of the Osiris night boat, Z. Well, I hope you enjoyed my introduction to some of the ideogram values and meanings in Proto-Egypt ideogram text. And I'll suggest some of those links that I left in those sign lists and that very easy alphabet. Until the next lesson, just make oneself familiar with those. Read through them. Don't expect too much, but just read through and start to get used to what it is that you're looking at. And thank you for joining me tonight. I'll look forward to teaching again. As we begin, Just now there you can see I've posted a cartouche name, a name of an emperor, Ptolemy, ruler of Egypt. A cartouche is a rope encircled name or title. So the rope encircling it, imagine a rope around and then tied into a knot at the end, holding it there safe. So a cartouche gives a name royal protection. And there we're seeing the name Ptolemy. So looking at that which I've posted and that which I posted directly underneath, the very simple alphabet in the box there that you can see. Let's apply that now to how that appears and how that reads in Ptolemy. Let's see. No, it doesn't focus. I have to do it best we can. So here we go. P, T, O, L, M, E, Ptolemy. Ptolemy. Simple, isn't it? That's a start. Second example. Again, using that very easy alphabet you can see there within the box, A, B, C's. Comparing that to, again, that same page. It's been posted there with the royal cartouche. Underneath we see the name Cleopatra. Famous name, one you can all grasp. So applying that, the alphabetical to it, goes like this. You'll see, which is basically a hill, a hard climb. As we progress and I tell more about these texts, we'll go into such things like that hard climb there is a hill. And that's what they've drawn there, is exactly that, a hill. For the sake of these alphabeticals, we'll stick to the alphabets. There, seen. So once again, Cleopatra. So what we're seeing is or K if you like, C, L if you like, but L, E, Cleo, Cleo. So you can see the word Cleopatra starting to take form. The P in the box, Cleopa. And then A, the great god, the wedge-tailed eagle. The letter A. A wedge-tailed eagle, I've got to add, and again we'll go into more detail on this later on, a very rare species only found on one place on Earth, the east coast of Australia. The wedge-tailed eagle, the great god or great spirit. So once again, K, L, L, E, O, P, A, Cleopa. But then it takes a big jump, Cleopatra. That's really how her name is said, Cleopatra. It's not just Cleopatra, as we're used to saying it, you know, Cleopatra. So, K-L-E-O-M-A, again, Cleopatra. So, Cleopatra. And then here we have the hand, and that's what it is. If you look on that the alphabetical, you'll see that more clearer than you will this. But it's a hand. And so it can be said as T, but its phonetic value, if I were to say it, is more of a J. But for the sake of alphabeticals, it's a T. But J is more it. Often used in the word diged, snefru, things like this that were famous in the Westcar papyrus. But as an alphabetical, ta. And underneath here now is the round image of like like your mouth, you know, and which is ah or r, often used for ra. And then again the a. So now we've got k, l, e. So k. That's right. Cli, e, o, pa, a, cha, tra, a, ta. So here, that second A, Cleopatra. So Cleopatra, ta. But here it also is a T. And then here we have an egg on the end of Cleopatra's name. And the egg doesn't really carry so much as a sound value as it does for its mention, making Cleopatra alongside or connected to Isis and the rest of those lady great mistress spirits. So once again, let's do it again. Cleomatrar, Cleopatra. So once again, using your alphabetical that's there posted, have a little play with that, you know. But that's how simple it can be. More cartouche names. We'll be doing more. It'll just takes us a little while to get us all began, get us used to what we're looking at here and accustomed, and from there we'll start to learn easily. You'll see, it's a start. A great deal of my work that I do for those there in Egypt goes directly to those working in the fields, those in the digs. It's probably there I'm most popular in Egypt today. A service I do for free for all. Somebody has to. Often there, it's remarked on it how quick I can be at times in first coming across a cartouche name and been able to give it a smaller margin to be able to date from. And one of the clues can be, when it comes to Roman emperors, you know, is they had a fascination with adding Caesar to their last name. And so what we'll often see is in a name such as Tiberius, a Roman emperor who ruled Egypt for some time. And again, using that known sign, that alphabetical list that you've got there now, just looking at his name, it's as simple as this, and we'll often see it in times looking this way, in the way that we've got ta, upturned bread loaf. Here we've got a burning cup, if you like, for want of a better name, or a burning container, sort of thing one might use for a light, you know. But we won't find that in that alphabet we've got, but we'll find it later in more detailed sign list. But here we're looking at Tabr, and then we talked of Ra, you know, Tabr, and then here E-E-S-K, Tabr, Tabrisk. But when he appears, we see that identifies him greatly is on the end of this name is some more text. And what it is, it appears on all of them, anybody that's got anything to do with being a Roman emperor, and they all next have this on the end of their name. And so quite a fascinating piece, and just to keep you all interested, I'm probably introducing this early, but it's one of the things that I use, a tool, you know, in attesting things to dates and identifying who they are and cutting down those margins. In 3,500 years was a lot of rulers, you know. So you know, when an artifact is dug up straight out of the dirt, covered in clay and so on, and I'm asked to identify what that might be, these are the clues I'm looking for. So at the end of a name such as Tiberius, what we see is this written here. And from, again, the alphabetical section you've got there, we can see we've got K, I, S, R. And this is another way of saying S. It's actually in a horizon with the sun just coming over the top. But it's alphabetical for S. But what we're seeing here when we look at it is K-I-S-R-S. Kisser. What's that? Kisser? Yeah. Was he a kisser? Well, of course he wasn't. But what it is think of the K in this way as also a C. It's the word Caesar. So somebody like Tiberius, then having this on the end of his name, he becomes Tiberius Caesar, his connection to Rome. Just an interesting exercise and example again of how we can use that very simple first alphabetical that I gave you against complicated names such as Tabris Caesar, Tabris Caesar. So there you are. We'll continue.